Welcome to today's tutorial. Today we want to look at dimension. So we go to our show menu option and then we go to toolbars and then we head to dimensions. So the dimension to palette will be docked by the right hand side of our screen. And so without wasting time, we go first to the first number one there, which is the linear dimensions. Of course, this will help you create a linear dimension. So it's simply a dimensions um, from one edge to the other, and it must lie straight, in other words, horizontal or vertical, as the case may be. It does not lie in line with the shape you're drawing. Let's say you want to draw along this polygon, it will not allow you. It will either go vertical or will go horizontal. So that's what is important we note about linear dimension. But we also have the next one, which is called the aligned dimension. Of course, it helps you create a dimension line in line with the line that you're drawing. So let's say we want to have a dimension line aligning with this. So that's where we use it. We create dimension line in line with a particular object. No matter the angles in which the line lies or the object lies, it will create a dimension line in line with that. Of course, the next tool is the arc length. This will create an arc length dimension. Here is an arc here, and so if we want to create an arc length to know the distance that this line covers while producing an arc, so we can as well dimension that, so we know the arc length by that. Of course, the symbol here will be a prefix first for you to know that's an arc length. Then in this case, we can also have what we call the ordinate dimensions. The ordinate dimension, for us to better understand an ordinate, this is the user coordinate system and they are coordinate points. So you can come to this view wheel and then you click on this and then you click new. Of course, if you notice, let's use a F8 to enable our auto mode. If you notice that the user coordinate system is what I'm carrying at the moment, of course, when you click on that, you can define the angle of it. But at this point in time, I will enable my F8 again, and then I will just simply press enter. And then that is where my origin at this point is being set. So if you notice, if I come to this coordinates of dimension line, if I come to this point, this is at 0, 0, 0, the xy, the x and the y axis. If I move a little away, so you see the distance will be indicated. So wherever I click, choose and click, it will tell me the distance with reference to the origin being 0, the distance away from the origin. So that will be the dimension given to me when I click any space. So that's it on the ordinate distance, the ordinate dimension. We also have another one, which is the radius. Of course, this will help you determine the radius of either a circle or an arc, as the case may be. Let's say we want to know the radius of this arc, so we simply hit that and R will prefix this dimension. So that's the radius of that arc. Of course, we can use it in circle as well. You can click on this circle and we have the radius of that circle. After dimensioning, you can always select and hold and change the location of such a dimensioned unit, or sorry, dimension signal. Of course, there is also the joked dimension. This will help us create a joked dimension for circles and arc. And so let's say we want to have a joked dimension here. First of all, we'll select the circle or the arc that we want to dimension, and then also we'll specify the center location where we wish to have our center, and then we can specify the dimension line where we wish to have, and as well as the joke, at which point along the dimension line do we wish to have the joke appearing. So I could choose to have it there. Of course, after dimensioning, also have options to come and retwist your dimensions drawing as well. Of course, there is what we now have next, which is the diameter dimension. As the name implies, it will help you create a diameter dimension of any circle, as the case may be. So there we have this diameter dimension there. The next we want to look at is the quick dimension. This helps us create a series of dimensions if we select a specific object. Let's say we want to select this entire object and have dimensions across it. So after selecting, you hit the enter key or the space bar, and then wherever you go, in line with that, you're going to see dimensions popping up from point to point. So here on this horizontal basis, we have this, and so on. Of course, you can always go vertical if you want to do it. So you select the object again, as the case may be, and then you can pick it one after another. And then when you're done, you hit the enter key. So when you hit the enter key or right click, you're going to have options to place whether you want it on the vertical, as the case may be. Next on that, we want to have a baseline dimension. But before we do that, let's have a linear dimension first, somewhere here. And then the next is the baseline dimension. Of course, this will help us create a continuous line dimensions, whether it's in linear, whether it's in aligned, or as the case may be. So let us hit that, and so you see it continues from the base of the recently drawn dimensions, as the case may be. As I click the point, it will continue from the base of that dimension as well. So let's hit the enter key now. The next on our list is the continuous dimension. Of course, this will help us create, let's delete this. This will help us continue a linear dimension or an aligned dimension, as the case may be. So we hit that tool now, and then the next step is to select the dimension line we want to continue. And so there we have it. We can continue that dimension here, and then here, and then here, as the case may be. So let's hit the enter key or space bar, and then we are done. Next on our list is the dimension spacing. Let's say we have another dimension here from this point down here. Of course, we right click and repeat the linear dimension. So we want to give our defined space or custom spacing between these dimension lines. So we're going to use this dimension spacing option, and we select the two dimensions that we want to influence the lines apart. And so having selected them, we hit the enter key. Of course, we are to enter a value. Let's say we want to have a value of 0.8, and we press enter. So that's the distance apart. Of course, I will want to have something distance far more clearer so you understand. So let's say we want to have 1.5. We enter the value now, 1.5. So there we see the distance apart from this to this is 1.5. Of course, if you pick a linear dimension and wants to take a vertical dimension point, you notice that from here to here is that 1.5. Next on our list today is the break dimension. Of course, that break dimension, let's have a linear dimension across an object. And then we also have another linear dimension across this one down. Of course, if you notice, there's a line crossing this particular object. What this dimension break helps you do is to break or restore dimensions that passes through an object. So having drawn a dimension line, across this, we then now hit that break dimension, or sorry, dimension break tool. Of course, it would ask us to select the dimension which we want to add the break. So when we select the dimension line, what we then do next is to hit the enter key. So if you notice, there is a gap in between this and this, and so the dimension line does not cross the path of the object. Next that we want to look at is that we can edit the dimension text. So if we double click on it, we are going to have options to influence whatever we wish to there. We can write anything there. So that's point one to note. Apart from that, if you select it and point to it, you're going to have options to stretch. So just point, and then this drop down menu will come out, and then if you want to stretch, you can stretch and reposition it. You can select and then reposition it. Of course, you can also move with the dimension line. You see they are moving with you if you choose that option. In understanding dimension stems, these vertical ones are called extension lines. In other words, the line from the objects to where the dimension line starts. These horizontal ones are called dimension lines. I repeat, these ones are called extension line, and these ones are called dimension lines. So you'll be able to know. So if we point this again, so we see move with dimension line. This will move with your dimension line. This horizontal line, that's the dimension line. Of course, if you point and say move text only, if you click move text only, you see it is only the text that moves, but the dimension line remains. Of course, if you point and say move leader only, the leader line will come out, and then you can define where you want to put it. Of course, you can as well undo that as well. And then we also have another one, which is to put it above the dimension line. Of course, it will put it in a well-organized manner. And then we also have options to center vertically, which is at the center of the dimension line. And then we also have another option, which is to reset dimension position. So it moves it to the center of the dimension line and resets. The next tool we want to look at is the tolerance tool. Of course, this will help you create a geometric tolerance. Let's say we have this and we want to assign a geometric tolerance of, let's say, datum identifier of 2, and then a tolerance of 0.5. And so we can as well define a parameter and then select the line in which the tolerance will be entered. So that's a case where we use tolerance dimension tool. The next is where we have the circle, the center mark. Of course, if we have a circle and wish to define a center mark for it, let's say we have an empty circle and there's nothing to define the center, so we can use the center mark dimension tool. Having select the center mark dimension tool, the next step is to click on the circle, and when you click on the boundary of the circle, you're going to see the center mark appearing. Of course, the next is our inspection tool. Of course, this helps add an inspection percentage to our work. Let's remove this that we have already had. Let's say we want to add an inspection tool here. So we will then choose the inspection tool option, and then we specify the percentage of inspection. Let's say we want to have it at 60% inspection, and then there is room for us to use either round or angular shape to boundary our text. So let's select the dimension that we want that to put to be inserted, and then we hit OK. We're going to do that again. The first step is you hit the inspection. Of course, you then define the percentage you want to. Let's say we have 80, and then we select the dimension that we want the percentage to be, and there we go. Having selected that dimension line, we hit the enter key or the space bar. Of course, we can use angular as the case may be, and there you see. The next on our list is the joked linear dimension tool. Of course, this will add or remove a joked linear. So let's say we want to have that, and then we choose our dimension that we want to have a joked linear installed. Of course, that is it. Here we have the joked linear introduced into the dimension line. Of course, this is exactly an example of a case where it may require a joked linear, where you have two walls in a building plan continuing, but in your own drawing you don't want to draw it fully to scale. You just want to draw parts, and then write the full length of the dimension that it will be constructed on site. So you can have a linear dimension of a wall here from this to this. This wall is going to be about 200 meters, but in real drawing here, you are not having 200 meters. So this means that there is a gap here. So you can simply double click this and then replace the content with 200 meters, and then you then come and use the joked dimension tool here. You come and use the joked linear dimension, and then you select the dimension line that you want to apply. Of course, you can bring it here. This will simply be interpreted that this wall is going to be 200 meters length. Though it may be scaled, it's not going to be constructed according to scale, but according to this dimension. Why? Because you have indicated using this joked linear dimension. Of course, we go back to the next dimension tool that we have, which is the dimension edit. Of course, it helps you edit your dimension. You can wish to add a new dimension text here. So we now have new, and then we're going to say we want to have 100 meters, and then we are done with that. The next will be to specify, to specify our dimension. We want to have new, and then we have 100 meters, and then the next option for us is to specify the dimension that we want that to replace. And when we are done, we hit the enter key. So it will replace that dimension with that new text that we have typed. Of course, you can also use this to rotate your dimension as well. So let's use the dimension edit text option, and then we select the dimension that we want to, and then we can specify the angle. We specify angle, let's say 45, and we hit enter. So that has rotated it to angle 45. And so that was the dimension text edit option. The next is the dimension update. Of course, this will help you update your dimensions to a dimension style that you might have created. So this must have been created first. So you can click on Dimension Style Manager to create a new dimension style, which we shall look at it in our subsequent lesson. So do make sure that you subscribe and then you hit the notification button so that you receive updates when we shall upload this lesson as well. Thank you so much for your time, and please remain abundantly blessed.